Hello, I'm EnterElysium. Welcome back to Tyranny, the RPG fantasy game where you play as a villain. We're about to go through the backstory of Elysia and see how she came to join the Forces of Darkness. So let's go through the Conquest. Pre-story, backstory.
All the world has fallen to Kairos, and now the Overlord's eye is on the Tiers, our home. The last corner of the world free of Kairos' reign. Two armies, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, march south from the Northern Empire, the last realm to fall to Kairos a century prior.
Awesome.
In the early days of 428, Kairos' armies arrive at the Gates of Judgment, the mountainous border that we Tiersmen so long believed unassailable. Unable to agree on a unified plan of defense, the various leaders of the Tiers sit and wait for each other to deal with the conquerors, until it's too late.
Okay. So this is the whole Conquest thing. During the Conquest, you will decide your character's actions during the invasion of the Tiers, shaping the world around which you will venture over the course of the game. Each choice you make affects the character and how major factions respond to you. Choose wisely. The first year of Kairos' conquest. Bye. Okay, this is the Bastard City. The Bastard City stood upon the northern border between Kairos' empire and the Tiers. Built upon a natural harbour at the crossroad between realms, the city was a nexus of commerce. To the Tiers, it was the centre of all wealth. To a northerner, it was little more than a backwater trading post. Its symbolic status as a gateway to the continent made it the first natural target in Kairos' military conquest. Circumstances were ideal for you to prove your worth as a soldier in Kairos' armies. Taking the city would send a message to the rest of the Tiers. Kairos' will is insurmountable. Okay, so we get to choose a token and then choose choices. Basically, we get like 2 tokens that we can choose what we did, and then we can choose choices based off of them. So the Gate of Judgment. We've got to be able to take the Bastard City. The armies of Kairos took the battle to the Gates of Judgment, trumping the opening call of the conquest of the Tiers. The two armies brought their distinctive sense of order and chaos to the assault. You went to battle along the armies whose approach best suited your strength. So either we went like standing shield to shield with Kairos' ironclad elite, you advanced on the mercenary army purchased by the nobles of the city. The Legion wanted to send a message, blah 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 blah, or you rushed with the chaotic mass of the Scarlet Chorus, flanked the army and drove them to flee. Or we could have gone here, infiltrating the Tiers. Now, so this is like either we straight up fought, or we infiltrated the city. I kind of like the idea that we infiltrated the city, to be honest. We're a mage, right? But we aren't a war mage. Maybe we were trained a little bit later to be more war magey, but our upbringing was initially in just being intelligent, being scholarly. We've got some points in subterfuge. I'm kind of thinking we're more that sort of talky, sinister, behind-the-scenes kind of Loki character, rather than the straight-up, like, blasty-blasty character. History would remember the Gates of Judgment, the first battle of the Conquest, but the real combat unfolded with the advanced units of both armies preparing for the coming war. The Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus each had a plan to infiltrate the capital city. Which army did you join? You lent your skills to elite Disfavored scouts to capture a border garrison. Graven Ash insisted... Graven Ash is the leader of the Disfavored, by the way. Insisted that an early victory in the offensive would boost the morale of the troops and diminish the haughty overconfidence of the Southerners. Okay. Or you joined the Scarlet Chorus as they raided villages and small towns, conscripting every able-bodied man and woman in the army. The Voices of Rat emphasized the rewards of conscription and enslavement over wanton bloodshed. Apparently soldiers needed a reminder. I kind of feel that we go with the Disfavored. We capture a border garrison. And if we capture a border garrison, we can always interrogate them, right? It gives us an early victory over blah, 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 blah. Gives us the morale and diminishes the enemy morale. I think that's a good idea. And I personally, I prefer the Disfavored to the Scarlet Chorus because they're like the elite. There's not many of them, but they're elite. Whereas they're kind of the crazy horde. Like, they're orcs, they're Space Marines. That's really not a way to sell it, is it? But anyway, we're going to go on, and we'll pick the Disfavored. The Oathbound scouts identified a modest border defense and collaborated on an organized attack that would leave the enemy uncoordinated and cut off from aid. You oversaw the preparations and offered your opinion on the strategy. When the clashing of swords and spears fell to silence, followed by the cheering of disabled scouts, you were the least surprised. Oh yeah. And flipped over. Right, we either get Inside Agent or Containing the Fire. Right, so your first opponents in the Bastard City were the mages of the School of Wild Wrath. Two Barrett used their powers responsibly, the unbridled practitioners that needed to be stopped. How did you trick the hot-tempered mages into their own undoing? Okay, so this is a mage thing. This might well be up our street. You lured them into an ambush where a legion of disfavored waiting to spring a trap. The soldiers were hungry for a chance to subdue the arcane branch of Tyr's resistance. Or you tricked the guild elders into meeting with the voices of Nerat, Archean of Secrets. The Archean was notorious for his cruel and mysterious interrogation technique. The mages were never seen again. Or Inside Agent. With the border garrison captured, you travelled ahead of the army and lurked in the shadows of the Bastard City. You decided that converting one of the locals to Kyros's side would help bring the city to its knees. After all, the corruption starts from within. Ooh, now this sounds clever, right? This is just, you know, we got rid of some mages. This is, you know, we got an inside person. This person could maybe, like, lower the gates and let us in. Maybe turn some of the mercenary companies that they've got. What do they have plans over here? It was ambush, or it was lure them into a meeting. This was enlist a bitter captain of the guard, sell military secrets to the disfavored. Better that Kyros's forces march into the next inevitable victory well informed. Or you came to an arrangement with a well-connected smuggler who knew how to sneak agents of the Scarlet Chorus behind the city walls. The Scarlet Chorus were better operatives than soldiers, and this work required a subtle touch. I mean, this is true. Getting, like, connections with a smuggler who could, like, get people in is pretty good. I'm going to go with the fast-talking smuggler, though we managed to make an arrangement with a smuggler and get some agents of the Scarlet Chorus in. Yeah, after accepting his deserved payment, the smuggler uncovered a long-forgotten tunnel that intersected with sewers of the Bastard City. Armed with maps of subterranean layout, your Scarlet Chorus allies fanned out to occupy various city districts under cover. They spent the ensuing weeks murdering key officials and sabotaging defenses wherever possible, weakening the Tyr's capital under the very noses of its leaders. See, that sounds like a useful thing. Your tactics of infiltration placed you in the Bastard City ahead of the main armies. Your work softened the city's defenses of the arrival of Kyros's forces, but you wanted a decisive advantage. You wanted a decisive gesture that would give your allies a meaningful advantage. How did you assist in the fall of the Bastard City? Okay. So we could spread fear through assassination. We could have spread the word of Kyros. You converted the poor and disaffected into a hidden army. Or you challenged the commander of the Bastard City's defenses to an honorable fight to the death. This favored wish to spare soldier lives the battle ahead and the civilians' lives. Okay, so what's this ability? Oh, so we get an ability, right? So we get Warrior's Respite, which is a heal, but we do less damage during the heal. We get Searing Palm. It's a fire magic attack. Not bad. I kind of dig that, and it gives damage over time. Or Concealing Shadows, creating a cloud of obscuring shadows and dust. For a short duration, enemies that use physical attacks against you have a significantly increased chance to miss. But during this time, your attacks will be less effective. Yeah, I get minus 100% accuracy, well, minus 100 accuracy for 12 seconds, but also plus 200 dodge and parry. I mean, it's great if you want to do that and then heal up, I guess. It's basically a, yeah, I'm not going to get hit while I heal. This just gives me the ability to do a fire attack, which honestly would be pretty useful because then I can use the fire rune to create fire spells. But let's not base it off the abilities. Let's base it off of the story. This is a story game. I will be making choices that maybe not like the most like beneficial choice in terms of mechanics. I will be going more off story sometimes. You challenge the commander to a duel. No, I mean I am a mage, but that does seem reasonable. I mean I'm a mage. I can duel. I can blast them with magic. Incite a riot. Convert the poor and disaffected into a hidden army. Eliminate the leaders of the Bastard City one by one. See, I kind of feel that would be a cunning plan. To leave them headless. Yeah. Assassination. Some deaths were quiet and unnoticed, while others were gruesome beyond words. As a wave of murder overtook the city's elite, your deeds swelled into infamy. Well before the armies arrived, no one in the Bastard City felt safe at their home, much less behind their walls. By the time Kyros's forces crested the horizon, it was fearful enough to throw open the gates and welcome their new protectors. See? Few assassinations, and then there's no one needs to die, like other than the people we assassinated. But there's no big battles or anything, right? And it melted and crushed, and that looks awesome. It's like a kind of Game of Thrones-y, kind of how the mechanics work. The Bad City settled into a new state of normalcy, with every tower displaying Kyros's banner. Your name was whispered alongside rumors of decorated careers to come. Of a decorated career to come. Your armies divided into two fronts and migrated south. Tunon sent word that you were to join the next frontier of Kyros's conquest, either as judge and overseer of the settlement of Lethian's Crossing, or as war advisor with the armies advancing into the realm of Apex. Okay, so Apex. Where's Apex? That's Lethian's Crossing. That's Apex. The troops of the mountain realm of Apex stood idle at the safety of the valley, biding the time as the neighbors in the bastard tier fell. In the Second Year War, a joint force went to attack them. Okay, so either we went as like a war mage, or deposits of iron made the settlement of Lethian's Crossing a strategic war asset. Kyros set the ford-bound smith mages of exceptional skill to establish a flow of weaponry. Tune on the Adjudicator sent one of his fate banners to ensure the enforcement of Kyros's law. So basically, either we went to be governor of this province, or we went as an advisor war mage to this province. I'm kind of thinking that our background doesn't lend ourselves to be like war mage, war mage, war mage. I kind of think that since we're a learned person who also has the ability to deceive and stuff, I kind of think maybe we went over here as a governor. Plus, you know, it's maybe more interesting to have the whole governor background than just to be war magey all the time. Let's go for the Lethian's Crossing to make sure we get the flow of supplies to the front line. See, there's glory to be had at the back of the line. You need to be able to get those swords, because otherwise people can't stab people, right? They'll be using, like, twigs and stuff, and they just aren't as effective as steel. I'm talking very fast. There's a lot to get through. There's a lot of talking. Right. Years ago, Lethian the Bold founded a small merchant town at the intersection of the ancient Old Walls. Old Walls? Old Walls. Yeah, it's pronounced Old Walls. A pact between the settlers and the mercenary company meant that caravans were able to travel without fear of bandits or bane, and the town thrived in modest insignificance. Lethian's Crossing drew Kyros's attention for the iron deposits in the surrounding hills. With the region under Kyros's control, the northern smith mages could set up workshops to refine ore and arm the disfavored with the finest weapons in the known world. The Arcane of Secrets dismantled the mercenary support with a generous bribe, taking the crossing in a bloodless victory. Tunon dispatched you to travel alongside Kyros's forces and bring order to the region. Right, so it was a load of merchants guarded by mercenaries. We bribed the mercenaries out, the mercenaries left, and now we're looking after it mostly so that we can get the steel to the disfavored. Cool. Right. The Iron's Flow. You found a clever solution to improve production. Kyros's smith mages worked day and night to create weapons. No one faulted their dedication, yet production was low. The plans that came to light proved divisive to disfavored and Scarlet Chorus. On one hand, any additional manpower was needed for fighters, not forges. On the other hand, the celebrated weaponry of Kyros's armies need to be fiercely guarded. The Scarlet Chorus took refugees from the recent influx and forced them to serve in Kyros's military. You repurposed these individuals to haul wagons of iron for the Smith Mages. They proved an inconvenience to the Scarlet Chorus, who relied on their numbers to be effective in field. Right, so either the disfavored will like us because we managed to press gangs and people into doing this, but the Scarlet Chorus will hate us because they want them to be in their army, or you could have scripted help from a tribe of local beastmen. Their strength would be more than offset their disobedience. The disfavored protested that savages having access to secrets of iron, but the voices were few compared to the support of the Scarlet Chorus. Yeah, I don't like the idea of giving beastmen iron if that's a thing that we're not meant to be doing. That just sounds like it could go very badly wrong. Or the Cult of Sirin. Sirin, Arcane of Song, used her arcane charm to lure locals into joining Kyros's army. As a patroness of the Scarlet Chorus, her efforts were critical to the conscription of new recruits. When an enthralled, disfavored soldier joined her cult, his company feared that the Archon was growing out of control and needed to be stopped. Okay, this doesn't sound good. You're not meant to pinch from the other armies. We all work for Kyros here. You're not meant to pinch each other's troops. That's not kosher. Disfavored demanded that the Archon of Song cease her recruitment practices and that they be allowed to violently subdue her cult followers. The loss of soldiers was a significant setback to the Scarlet Chorus's conscription efforts. Or, in Scarlet Chorus tradition, you sent the latest batch of cultists to the front lines of the Apex campaign. Those who survived were welcome to remain in Kyros's military, and their performance would stand as testimony to Sirin's effectiveness. I mean, this works as a way to get rid of them, but also it kind of buffs them because, you know, it plays into their tradition, etc., and it might give Sirin more credibility. I know, I kind of think we should deal with this one, but I actually like this one more because I kind of feel like, yeah, we press gank some of the refugees. Honestly, we're gonna need someone to, like, pull the wagons and stuff. Mules? Pfft, no idea what you're talking about. We need slaves. So I think we will do the Iron must flow. We're gonna nix some of the refugees. The Scarlet Chorus aren't gonna be happy, but the population of Lyson's Coffin had swelled from the emptying of lands destroyed by Kyros's armies. Although the Scarlet Chorus thought to keep the refugees under their control, the need for production could not wait. The new recruits were reassigned to haul iron ore from the treacherous mine shafts, labour more befitting slaves and Kyros's artisans. Though the disfavoured grew strong with their advantage for more weapons, the Scarlet Chorus diminished as their ranks found themselves with one less opportunity for growth. Alright, what's next? A tent or a symbol of Tau? Pick the armory. Since you aided the production of weapons, commanders of both armies lobbied for additional arms. They offered all manner of bribes to be next in line for a fitting session with the Master of the Forge. How did you sate the lust for iron? Oh, there's a middle option. You allowed no changes to the orderly dispensation of iron, and punished those who tried to bribe you twice. You gave arms to the Scarlet Chorus, knowing they very well pay very well for any killing tool. The weaponry of such a claim was typically reserved for the highest disfavoured officers, but you were open to changing tradition and circumstances. Or, you let the disfavoured have the iron, keeping the best tools in the hands of the elite. The Scarlet Chorus saw the slight as an obvious display of preferential treatment. See, I'm personally in favour of going neutral, but the thing is, the disfavoured have a much lower turnover, because they're elite troops. The Scarlet Chorus, they're a horde. Why would I give them the best iron? Because they're probably going to die and drop the iron, and it'll be a waste. They're a horde, they aren't elite. The elite can do a much better job with it. Or, a Guardian's Due. Kyros's armies used Leviathan's... Lethians, I keep saying Leviathan. Lethian's Crossing as a reprieve from the war. The city grew more crowded as mercenary companies hired by the Arcane Secrets occupied the barracks, where they drained resources and escalated tensions. This they would wanting nothing to do with the sellswords, but the Scarlet Chorus thought to keep them, invite them into the fold. Okay. The rightful occupiers will not be deemed to share provisions or supplies with degenerate sellswords. You built separate barracks and mess hall in order to keep the sellswords out of the army's way and enact strict laws against disorderly conduct. I mean, that seems very fair. You let the Scarlet Chorus and the mercenaries engage in combat games and challenges and allowed laws against revelry and merriment to go unenforced. Those who won the contest took a great share of provisions and sellswords and merits. No. I mean, this seems a very, decent choice, but maybe that's just me. Either that or we go pick the armory. I mean, the best iron should be in the hands of the elite. It just makes sense. Either way, I think I'm siding with the disfavored here. Yeah, I'm gonna. As much as I like the idea of handing out the iron evenly, I'm still a little bit torn between remaining neutral. Whereas this one is a really easy choice. People will, not nick all my provisions, and you should keep away from the disfavored, and in a separate barracks. I don't see a problem with that. Elite soldiers in the north had little patience for the sellswords under the best of circumstances, and showed open contempt for mercenaries born in the tiers. They demanded that all armies, including their own soldiers, follow strict military discipline and be restricted to quarters when not on duty. After some discussion, you agreed that separate accommodations were the best possible solution. But the sellswords balked at the oppressive foreign custom. You convinced them it was the safest course. Tragedy struck when a mercenary hired by the voices of Nurat injured a forge-bound artisan. Come on, Scarlet Chorus, you know better than that. Leaving him unable to practice his craft. Tunon ordered the mercenaries to leave the city in the hands of Kyros's more responsible servants. Only a token garrison can be left behind while the armies return to the front. As the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus showed increased tension and hostility towards one another, Tunon decreed it best that only one force control the crossing. It's going to be the disfavored. I mean, sorry, but Scarlet Chorus, it was your Archaon who got that guy stabbed in the first place and unable to do his craft. These Smith mages are hard to get hold of. No, it's your fault this has happened. So, the disfavored are going to be in charge. This placed a modest garrison at the settlement of Lethian's Crossing, and though the force was larger than might be needed to police a small settlement, protecting the forge-bound ironsmiths became the true agenda of the defensive force, as these magical craftsmen kept the disfavored invasion force suited in iron. Relieved at the departure of the Scarlet Chorus, the citizens of Lethian's Crossing felt they got the least of two burdens. You received word from Graven Ash thanking you for your decision. The forge-bound and their weaponry will not be entrusted to the voices of Narat. Yes, that is the right choice. I feel good about that choice. Ooh, okay. With the mercenaries expelled from Lethian's Crossing under new leadership, Kyros's forces congratulated themselves on bringing order to the settlement and guaranteeing a productive flow of resources. Over the course of this diversion, the army front advanced further into the tiers. Your skills were needed in the realm of Azure, stalwart of the Vellum Citadel. The Vellum Citadel was a library fortress, the largest archive of the written words in the tiers. The School of Ink and Quill protected and maintained the archive of ancient lore for centuries, standing apart from the political upheavals of the younger realms as an enduring pillar of knowledge and culture. They're a library citadel? I'm a learned person. That sounds good. What else is there? Dispatch the Archon of Stone to subjugate the nation of Azure. Vellum Citadel. Easily defended position and rich military tradition in the realm of Sort was the most formidable realm in the tiers. I mean, it's the most formidable realm in the tiers. It's very tempting. But I kind of feel that as a learned person myself and as a fate binder of, the justice people, I feel I would end up going to the place of the library. We're going to go to the Vellum Citadel. Year 3 of Kyros's conquest. The Vellum Citadel was an archive and library of massive scale. Its inhabitants were known as the School of Ink and Quill. I wonder what fire suppression system they have. A circle of mages that centuries ago carved out their own mountainous refuge on lands unsettled by other major realms. Legends said that the Citadel housed a treasure trove of arcane knowledge. Ooh, I'm so glad we came here. I want to learn this. The Overlord's spies infiltrated the school and confirmed as much. The time was ripe to send a detachment to the great library fortress and force the scholars to yield to Kyros. Okay, right. Chain of command. A detachment of Kyros's army marched on the Vellum Citadel expecting an orderly surrender. As they neared the main gates, a blast of arcane energy struck the commanders dead. Suddenly the highest ranked officer alive, Kyros's forces looked to you for the next call. Right. So we ordered the expendable Scarlet Chorus to attack, giving us time to retreat. Or we ordered the disfavored to advance, knowing that they could hold people out for a long time. Or Song of Ensnarement. Sirin! Oh god, it's Sirin again. Arcane of Song used her powers to enthrall enemy mages who crept beyond the citadel walls. After Kyros's forces rounded up the arcane practitioners, the disfavored began executing the new captives before they could share dangerous knowledge. A crime under Kyros's law with a Scarlet Chorus. You calm the disfavored with compromise. The sages' mouths would be bound with iron bridles, preventing them from speaking their forbidden knowledge. But I kind of want to learn the forbidden knowledge. You punish the disfavored by executing mages bound to the Scarlet Chorus, ordering that several disfavored soldiers be given... I punished the disfavored for executing mages bound to the Scarlet Chorus, ordering that several disfavored soldiers be given to the Archon of Song as her personal bodyguard. That's a little bit much. That seems okay, but... I don't know. Or... Chain of Command. I don't know, I kind of like the idea that I'm the only person left, and this is how I became, this is how I got a big reputation. I was the last person left, but then I have to organize a retreat. The Scarlet Chaos are expendable. We'll go with the Song of Ensnarement. We calm the favored with a compromise. The sages' mouths would be bound with iron bridles, preventing them from speaking their forbidden knowledge. The Scarlet Chorus openly criticized the suppression of enemy intelligence. You gave the soldiers a stern lesson of Kyros's laws and sensitive treatment on forbidden knowledge. I wanted the forbidden knowledge. But they didn't stop the whispering the rumors that the conquest was being mismanaged. Oi. Right of command. The Archon of Song incited Scarlet Chorus recruits to fight their leaders. Bosses were killed and supplanted left and right. This favor demanded an end to the threats to the good of the conquest. Or, the Spy Master's agents, a group of enemy mages, surrendered to the disfavored, claiming to be spies loyal to the voices of Narat. No one in the army could verify the claim. The disfavored readied to interrogate the mages, but the Scarlet Chorus protested, demanding that their prisoners be given to their custody. They couldn't risk the voice of Nerat's secrets falling into the wrong hands. I mean, that's understandable. Okay, so... Bosses were killed and supplanted. You agree with the disfavored arguments. The right of command had its place, but not when Curse's forces were outnumbered and reinforcements weak behind. Or, each Arcane had the right to govern their armies according to the nature. I kind of think that that has to be like... I might not agree with it, but I kind of feel they have the right to do their army that way. I mean, it seems to make sense. It doesn't seem to say that's not a thing. It seems to imply that. So yeah, I kind of would actually have to agree with the right of challenge there. Here... Though men angry in Scarlet Chaos, the mages were disfavored property. You ignore disfavored threats, sharply reminding them that they marched on Kairos' orders and not their whims. The mages were released into the custody of the Scarlet Chorus. Honestly, that also seems very fair. I mean, admittedly, they did hand themselves over as disfavored. But if, you know, they're spies for the Scarlet Chorus, it makes sense that they went to the Scarlet Chorus. That just seems like a pissing contest to keep them. Yeah, I'm going to hand them over. The Scarlet Chorus accept the mages into their company of gratitude. After secreting them within tents and out of earshot, you presume that a discussion of interrogation followed. When asked about the following day, the Scarlet Chorus admitted that they sent the mages to the voice of Nerat with an escort, dispatched them under cover of night without due authorization. You reminded the soldiers to keep you... You reprimanded the soldiers to keep you out of the loop, but there was naught else to be done in the matter. Well, see, I trusted them, and then they screwed up, but oh well. The Edict of Fire. Food and morale dwindles as the siege party realised the enemy would win this war of attrition. Tunin sent word that Kyros's patience had run thin. The Overlord would cast an Edict of Fire on the enemy. The parchment arrived in a slender case of engraved iron, written on it the words of a spell powerful enough to destroy the vellum citadel. Oh no, all that knowledge. You had the choice of when to read the edict. Reading it at sunrise would offer your enemies no warning of the devastation to come. You'd also wait until sunset, giving them ample time to flee or make amends. Give the enemy no quarter, destroy them immediately. The chorus insists that your actions doom their spies. Or claim that there's still the spies in the city. The chorus urge you to warn the mages of the Overlord's edict. Granting their request, you met with the enemy under a blue flag of peace and warn them of their doom. Giving the spies and the enemy a chance to run. It also gives us a chance to get some of that, like, forbidden knowledge. I'm gonna go with giving them a chance. Yeah, we're gonna do it at, was it sunset? You confront the mages with a warning and hope the message was received. The hour before sunset, numerous figures were spotted fleeing the citadel. As the sun dipped under the horizon, you read the words of the edict. The earth shook. Red-orange light glowed in the foundations of the sprawling citadel. Bubbling up from under the library, a torrent of lava heaved with explosive force, gushing from windows and between loose bricks, melting winding trenches in the surrounding land. Days later, the flames still raged on, the conflagration continually fed and renewed by the power of the edict. Okay, so we just destroyed a city. That's scary. I was hoping we could have some of that knowledge, but oh well. The armies of Kairos left the devastation of the Vellum Citadel in silence. From that day forward, the Tears came to know the once noble Citadel as the Burning Library. This was an undisputed loss of resources, knowledge, culture, and life, but a message had been sent. The Overlord will not tolerate defiance. You didn't have long to rest before Tunon called you into service once more. You were one of the last to depart from the mountains, and as the journey off, you spotted a few campfires in the mountains. These were mere specks, dwarfed by the inferno of the last survivors. Or perhaps looters from Kyros's armies bore... These were the last specks, dwarfed by the inferno of the last gasp of survivors. Or perhaps looters from Kyros's armies, bored and daring enough to pick through the ashes. There we go, I can words. You've reached the end of Kyros's conquest. Do you want to continue or raise your progress and start over? I'm happy with that. Like, I'm quite happy to go ahead. I feel that we had a good choice there. Went a few places, tried to get some knowledge, really didn't achieve much knowledge, but it was good. So I'm going to say we continue. Some abilities allow party members to attack multiple times with basic attacks. Lovely. And that's a statue of blood coming from its eyes.
The year is 431. And Kairos' invasion has shattered all major opposition in the Tiers. The younger realms, the bastard tier, the free cities. All who defied Kairos lay broken by battle or bowed in surrender. The two armies of the Overlord, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, now control our lands. But our will is not yet extinguished. Not entirely. In the Valley of Vendrian's Well, those of us unwilling to bow to Kairos have banded together in defiance. Violating an oath of surrender from 2 years prior, we have staged a bloody uprising, murdering the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus garrison in a midnight assault. With their main forces spread across the tiers, the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus redeploy to Vendrian's Well to crush the resistance, but months pass with no definitive battle. As disagreement and discord paralyze the Archons, we bide our time and wait for our message of insurrection to spread across the tiers. The Overlord is not amused, and Kairos has one message for the Archons: crush the Oathbreakers or die. Kairos backs this threat with an edict, a magical commandment that can slay all in the valley should the order be ignored. The honor of proclaiming this edict fell to you. Sent across the mountains to Vendrian's Well, you carry the Overlord's edict to read before the Archons. As you finally make your way through the winding mountain passes into the valley, the ground trembles, and Kairos' magic seals the way behind you. You are trapped in Vendrian's Well, with Kairos' armies and the Oathbreakers. The only way to survive is to fulfill the terms of the Overlord's edict, in any way that you can.
Excellent, we have another edict to read. Great, and it's going to kill everyone in the valley if we don't do our job. Well, if the Archons don't do their job. Let's just hope they do. I guess it's a good place to leave it then for this episode. We will be, next episode, diving into actual gameplay rather than just the setup stage. So do look out for that video. But for now, I've been EnterElysium. Do remember to like, subscribe, do comment down below, and let me know what you thought of that intro bit. I thought it was kind of really cool. I really did like the aesthetic and stuff. I kind of dig that in this game. But yeah. Until next time, just remember to stay shiny.
And evil.